Warning. Pro Tri News is a podcast with different opinions, knowledge, and possibly fake news about triathlon racing. This podcast is for entertainment purposes only, and some stories may be dramatized for comedic effect. Enjoy.
Hello, everyone, and welcome back to another episode of Pro Tri News. I'm your host, Kyle Glass. If you're joining for the first time, we talk about the professional level of triathlon racing, and we had another exciting weekend. Talbot said championship season's over, but I'm still like, we're kind of a little bit in championship season.
Well, I think we were halfway through Saturday morning we woke up, right? And I was a little worried we weren't going to have much to talk about on the pod. And then I finally just kind of dropped it in the group. I'm like, what we thought was going to be an off week of the pod has turned into the 4th of July. We got fireworks all the entire show.
I have never had messages being like, "Oh my god, I'm excited for your pod." Before.
Oh, that's so good.
So it's hilarious. Right?
Joined by Patrick Lemieux, athlete agent in the triathlon and endurance space, and Mark Matthews. Can I say you're honorary CEO of the Husbands and Boyfriends crew? Is that okay?
I mean, I get shaped like that a lot, but I wouldn't rank myself in the top 5 in terms of competency. That's for sure.
Sweet. Talbot Cox usually joins us, content creator, and unfortunately he's got some family stuff going on, so we let him have off this week, but he's got some texts and stuff that we're going to go through from the podcast. I will start off this weekend. I was down at IRONMAN Arizona. It was phenomenal racing. The biggest thing for me was just the sheer amount of people that kind of came up to me and said how much they love the podcast. Commenting on the beautiful new camo hat that my buddy Kenny Withrow wanted, and
I've never seen anything more American.
I figured the European mind could not comprehend that, Mark.
Well, you said this before the pod went live, so I looked it up. Camouflage was invented by the French, but okay.
Fair. But if you didn't tune into our Instagram stories, we did kind of boots on the ground updates. We'll give you a quick 60-second overview of what happened. Basically, there's a lead group of 8 men that let out the swim that's quickly dwindled down to about 4 guys: Menno Koolhaas, Andre Salisbury, Ben Canoe, and Josh Lewis. They hit T2 pretty much with about a 3-minute lead over the chasers of Trevor Foley, Sam Long, Colin Zutch, and I think there may have been one other guy with them in that group. Sorry, my memory's gone. So Trevor Foley, about 10K away from T2, got a double flat, DNF the day. And then Menno Koolhaas ran away with the race, had a 2:35 run split, was on pace to run sub 2:30, and then kind of just seems to maybe just shut it down a little bit. Wanted to go under 7:30, and so didn't want to start bonking or anything. Second place was Sam Long, around 21 miles into the race, so about 10K to go. He started walking, and fireworks started happening with only 3 Kona slots. So Sam Long, Ben Canoe, and Menno Koolhaas ended up getting those in the end. But you also had Matt Hansen, who was running through the field, and Colin. They were all kind of battling it out for the podium spot. So in the end, you had Menno Koolhaas, Sam Long, and Ben Canoe on the men's side. On the women's side, the swim was led out by Spaniard Laura Hernandez Tome. She swims Masters in Florida, had a phenomenal day, rode super, super well. Fastest bike split of the day, though, was Alice Alberts. And the run was a pretty good battle with Rachel Zelinkas, Alice Alberts, and Simone Daly for a while.
Simone Daly is Simone, Nee Mitchell, because I didn't know. I didn't know she'd changed. I was like, who the fuck is Simone Daly? Like, she's a good race.
Yeah. So it was Simone Mitchell. If you want to look up her PTO results, she's raced a lot, but had a bit of a name change. So she actually announced she was retiring at this race. So she ended up going out on top, won the day. Had the fastest run split with a 2:59.45. And then Rachel Zelinkas, second place after a tough season. Elisabetta Kurakoti was third. Her and Alice Alberts ran together the last pretty much 8K of the run. And then with Simone now retiring, that third Kona slot will roll down to 4th place for Alice Alberts. So that's IRONMAN Arizona in a nutshell.
What did Simone Daly give the rationale for the retirement for? They just wanted to be done?
Yeah. She's just kind of sick of it and wants to go to High Rocks.
She's a beast. She's an absolute monster in the gym. like an absolute
Yeah, she used to be in
Yep.
fitness. She used to be in fitness before she came into triathlon.
Yep.
Yeah, I could see her being really good at IROX as well. Yeah.
Yeah.
Can I just say, only thing to shout out on that, Milo Kuhnhauser is real good at triathlon. Like, we know he had that great result in Kona last year. We didn't really understand why he dabbled in T100 and stuff this year. I think he should have just focused all in on Ironman. And I think this result shows it. Like, he's an absolute beast. Swim, bike, run, the whole shebang.
No, so I chatted with him last year. He is very much like a Kona purist for Ironman World Championship. So that's why he was like, I don't want to go and race in Nice. Like, I'm good on that. So I might as well just take this T100 contract, go do some short stuff. He had a 4th place at London and 4th place at Wollongong. So he did all right at T100 still this season. And then to be able to walk off a win at Ironman Arizona is huge.
Fair play, bro.
Yep.
Sam Long can't run a marathon, can he?
Dude, that's the thing is, like, that's Sam Long's best Ironman performance. People could say whatever they want about his win at Ironman Coeur d'Alene. That's his best Ironman performance, and he was like blowing up the last 10K.
Yeah, I think for me on the men's side, it was like spectacular performances for that entire podium for their own unique reasons, right? And so you had Menno Koolhaas that put on a masterclass in that event.
7:28, Jesus.
Yeah,
in Arizona.
You had Sam Long, who, I mean, his wife might give birth to their second baby today, and so the pressure that puts you under just the whole week leading in. I mean, hats off to him. And then Ben Canute, who's had a rough year, just did 70.3 worlds last week. I don't know how he'd feel about a 16th place for a guy that's podium twice at the event, but then he comes in and grits it through for a podium as well. So, I can't
imagine Marbella to Arizona is an easy journey either.
No
chance.
And he did it with
a miracle. His bike made it,
and he did it with his 2 kids the whole way too. I mean, so
just kill me.
Yeah, so shout out to him. I mean, I thought each of those guys, they earned that podium in their own unique way. And then with respect to the women's race, I mean, for Simone Daly to know that was going to be her last race and to go out on top like that and find that, again, just like that inner willpower to go and fight through it. I thought that's really cool.
Yeah.
I don't suppose we've got the stat up, and I wish I looked it up. Meredith Kessler also retired, right?
Yeah, and Dee Dee Griesbauer and Jody Stimson.
I wonder how many Ironmans Dee Dee Griesbauer and Meredith Kessler have done between them. I'm going to say it's like 140 or something. I think Meredith's done 70 plus.
It has
for sure.
To be. She's won Arizona like 3 times.
Yeah. So to those 2 ladies who have just championed the sport, Meredith's always been so lovely since Kat started as like a neo-pro. Dee Dee, who's just a big name of the sport. Good for you, and thank you for the entertainment, ladies.
Do you guys want to know a little bit of drama that not a lot of people? Yeah.
Yeah, go on. No, just to Jodie Simpson, to finish off the retirement. Jodie Simpson, British legend. She's raced Commonwealth Games. She's raced in relay teams for us. She's been around a long time. So well done. She's never done an Ironman, so she just ticked an Ironman off to finish her career.
That's good. Another guy that retired was Matt McElroy. DNF'd on the day. He had some cramping issues, and then his saddle kind of sheared off of his bike. So he was like, I was looking for a sign to retire, and this was going to be my last race anyway, but the Lord kind of gave me a full-fledged sign now. So he's had a very long career in short course and then some middle distance stuff. So super excited for his next journey. The drama from the day, it was absolutely beautiful. Like all week they were like, this one might be canceled. This one might be canceled because rain. Like if it rains like even an inch, they cancel the swim. And so for us to have an amazing day, the sun to come out, it was perfect weather. It was a super fast day for both the pros and the age groupers. However, there was over 10 penalties that were given out. Like guys were coming by me and they're like, this ref's on a power trip. And it's like, most of these guys have all raced with Race Ranger at this point. Like they have an idea of how far away they need to be. And these refs are like, nope, you're way too close. You're too close here. You're too close there.
We bashed on refs for not giving penalties for so long. And we're so guilty of as soon as they do, just assuming the penalties are wrong as well.
The thing is, I'll leave it for the hot takes, but there's some thoughts that I have on how to fix things like that. I'm happy that they're giving out penalties because it's keeping it clean and stuff for non-pro series races. but it was crazy.
Last one on Arizona, and Talbot would die. We've talked about a race like this for this long, but he's not here, so screw him. Big Mike Alberts, Alice Albert's husband, absolute legend, listener of the podcast, age grouper, bag carrier, full-time worker as well. Congrats, mate, on your Ironman.
And I mean, yeah, it was crazy. We won't talk about non-pros, but
should we get on to why everyone's actually tuned in?
Yeah, okay.
Sorry, can we just also mention Joe Skipper needs to take a set of Allen keys on a bloody race? What is? I've never seen anyone's bike break as much, and it's always a bolt loose. And Kyle and me messaged, and Kyle made the point. Maybe he just needs to go to the wind tunnel one more time. And it sort of must be the problem, right? Because I swear he changes something between every race. He's in the wind tunnel between every race, unscrewing, screwing, unscrewing, screwing. And then his bike seems to fall apart in every race, bless him. Threadlock?
So crazy. He's like screaming coming by me because where I was, it was like right before the turnaround, and then I went over to the other side, and I'm like coming this way, and he goes, "You got an Allen key," and I'm like, literally the one race I don't bring an Allen key, 1 and 2, kind of outside assistance, but I'm also media, so it's like
you can't.
Outside support,
Also,
and then I walk over to the other side, and he goes, "Where's the mechanic?"
Dude,
also, Pat, would you let Kyle anywhere near your bike with an Allen key?
Absolutely.
I'd give him an Allen key, and I'd say, "Hey,
Kyle would have Allen keys, but they'd be standard, not
Torx.
metric." Yeah, no, they'd be, what am I going to do with this 3/16?
1/8 of an inch.
Yeah.
The best part, Pat's FaceTiming me this week, and I'm like messing with my bike, and I'm like, dude, I don't even know what I'm doing here. So,
well, no, you don't.
Yeah, you don't.
Moving on to T100 Dubai.
Was there? Was there a race in Dubai? I didn't see it.
It was a big weekend for them. They had before we get into the race itself, they had over 2,000 age groupers race between the sprint distance and the 100K. So it's unfortunate that it's overshadowed by this, because that's probably the biggest T100 race that they've had outside of the London race.
I mean, that's
moving
amazing.
on to the race.
And they had a lot of stuff like, they have a lot of videos with some of their age groupers. Some of them incredibly. I mean, an 8-hour cutoff time for 100K that's a long time out there. Do we just go into what happened? Because all people want to know about is the men's race and the fiasco, surely.
Yeah.
Kyle?
Yep.
So what happened was Morgan Pearson let out the swim. Hayden Wild does what Hayden does and swam about a minute and a half down, and then just freaking blitzed the bike, went to the front, and then he's leading off the front with Martin Van Riel, Matisse Margerier, and they're going off. This freaking bike course is a maze. There's 8 laps. You don't have a bell lap. You don't have a counter. You got a penalty tent right in front of transition. And then Hayden gives a gesture to the camera saying, "I have 1 lap left." Whenever he was done, he could just go in. But I'm assuming he looked at his GPS and it was nowhere near 80K. So he just kept going. And then Matisse followed him and Martin followed him. Sam Dickinson then came into T2 first place, followed by Morgan Pearson, Greg Barnaby. And then they do a whole nother loop. That's the other thing. Like, for them to do a whole nother 8K loop, nuts. Absolutely nuts.
Yeah, and if the run hadn't have happened and all that fiasco, it would have just been like Hayden didn't count his laps. But then we looked at the course, and the course is a joke in terms of, like, there's 1,000 corners on it. It's like because they have to ride 15K to the course, then it's 8 laps. So it's like what's that, 7K? I don't know, 6K loop or something, 6.5K loop with about 1,000 corners. It all looks the same because you're basically in a giant car park. It is very tricky. So if you're going to forget to count, and in the women's race, Jess Learmonth was asking, like, how many laps have we done? What you can rely on there is you either have to come up with a system to count it yourself, or you rely on the distance on your Wahoo or your Garmin.
But
it was 76 when he got there.
Right, but let's talk about that for a second, because all that the course has to be off is 400, 500, 600 meters per lap, and then you're down to the 76K, right? So there's no, for the bike, right, in World Triathlon Racing, they will go out and take a wheel and measure the course to see if it's as close to 10K as possible. But nobody is doing that on the bike courses, right? So you're just trusting that the bike course is actually what they advertise it to be, and that it's going to be as close to 80K as possible. But we've seen plenty of Ironman races that are, 3-4K short, 3-4K long, just based on geography, right? And so to think that it's 76K, like I could have totally seen that. And then also with the amount of turns that you're making, the GPS, they aren't perfect, right? They're close. They're really close. They're not going to be off by 4K, but over time it could accumulate to be off by a bit more, right? And we've seen that, you go into a twisty Strava loop, somewhere, and then you're like, why didn't I get a KOM? And it's like, well, because the GPS was off. So,
yeah, and like if he was coming up to transition, right, and his GPS is showing him 79K, he's probably pulling in. Even if he's forgot the number of laps, he's like, oh, there's no way it's over by this. Or he would have started to look at it and ask others with him. So yeah, Hayden will, and he'll say himself, he should have probably remembered his laps. But like the systems to do that when you're up near threshold, you've just dropped like Mika Newt on the bike. You're absolutely flying, and it's so far out. That was the first drama, but actually, that turned out not remotely to be the story of the day either.
So they come in, hit transition, and then Sam Dickinson's coming through to start his second loop of the run. Hayden's coming through transition. They're running side by side, and Hayden like looks over, and it's like a meme. He's like, "What the hell is going on?" So he parks his bike. He does fastest transition I've ever seen in my life. Chases down Sam Dickinson, and he's like, "What's going on? What happened?" And Sam goes, "You did an extra loop on the bike, mate." And he's like, "No, I didn't. No, I didn't." That's what I love about Hayden. He's so animated while he's racing at like sub 3 minute per K running. It's incredible. But
he doesn't have a poker face, does he?
he wears his heart on his sleeve.
Yeah, fine.
It's one of the things we love about him. So he runs through. He's like almost like at one point I was like, dude, he could run his way up onto the podium even after doing an extra loop on the bike. Like he's the fastest guy on course right now. And then the LED board goes out that's counting the laps for the run, is my understanding.
I also think it was like right before the turn off is what I've understood as well. So you would cross the board, then turn in, but it would show like the lap to go, and whether you turn straight after it or before it wasn't obvious either.
Yeah.
So it wasn't working. It went in and out, and it was in a pretty bad place.
Yeah. And so eventually it goes out, and then an official goes over and just tells everyone to go to the finish while Morgan Pearson's leading this race on the correct bike laps and on the correct run laps.
Yep. There's
like 7-8 guys that finish, and then Morgan finishes, and he's like, "What the hell happened?"
Yeah. The other tricky part here, right, is that these T100 run courses, the laps have become so short that even though there's only 20 athletes, male or female, in a given race, you will, like we saw in the women's race, Julie Darren was a complete lap up on Taylor Spivey on the run and still passing her. So she was going a lap plus down. And so if you're an official, to actually keep track of the 20 people and to understand that, hey, we might have Julie Darren come by, who's got 6 laps to go. Oh, but then we're going to have Taylor Spivey come by, and she's actually got 7 laps to go. The lap cards actually need to be alternating. And that's, I think, one of the downsides of these really short run courses.
Yeah, but you plan a run course that short, you look back on the previous races, you recognize the gaps in the women's race is going to be half an hour. Like there's going to be 2 people, there will be people that were 2 laps down on the run. Like you have to put a system in place if you insist on these ridiculously short laps.
Yep. So let's go back to the men's race. Sorry, but this
I was just trying to clarify. So then the men's race, like initially, the winner's gone to Mika Newt again, who had got well and truly spanked. He'd got overtaken, ran away from by Morgan Pearson, crosses the line first. Results are showing he's won, but the TV camera knows all too well, and we all watched. Morgan did an extra lap. So did Gregory Barnaby, Jason West, Jake Birtwistle.
Yep. Jake Birtwistle, Jason West, Greg Barnaby, and there's a fourth
Morgan
one.
Pearson.
Morgan Pearson, yeah.
Yeah, but they're all at different points in the race as well. So it's interesting who did the right laps and who didn't, because Jake Birtwistle was right at the back, and then it all got a bit of a mess. But then they cross the finish line, and there's just this. People are popping off on the finish line. Hayden catches a hot mic, but what he says, this hot mic, is actually more like, "This is meant to be pro racing. What is going on?" Like, we got no idea. He's probably talking about his bike lap thing, but he's also effectively voicing what everyone was feeling. This is ridiculous. And then they delete the men's tracker from the tracker, and it kind of goes quiet. And then, whilst it's all going on, and Pat, you might want to touch on this, the T100 Instagram account, the socials, what?
The social team at this point is having a complete heyday with these screw ups. And this is where I'm personally going to cry foul a little bit, and now this is really where moving forward, and I want to be careful, because I also want to acknowledge what Martin Van Riel said. So I want to bring that up because I think that's really important. But for me, when they start going off on social, I was at a bike race this weekend. I had more people coming up to me saying, "What the hell happened at this triathlon in Dubai?" They don't know what T100 is. They don't know who any of these athletes are. But on Meta, this went viral for all the wrong reasons, in my opinion. And we'll get to this later on. But the decision for the social team to run wild with this needs to be completely scrutinized again. So I want to maybe go back to the race and maybe talk about how they decided on the finish, and then talk about some of the long-term ramifications of this.
Yeah. So at the finish line, I put a reply on a post of theirs, like, which was my thoughts behind it were, the people that did the correct laps are just the results, and everyone else is disqualified. There's just no alternative in my eyes. Like, there might be a bit of a mess up, but at every pro athlete brief and every triathlon brief you've ever gone to, it is the athlete's responsibility to count their laps, because systems do fail, and that is every athlete. There'll be pros out there that'll be annoyed hearing this, but you've sat and heard that in a brief. Like, you could have bands that you move between your arms. You see this all the time. People do stuff like that. Pat?
I completely agree with you. The issue here, and we're not going to have clear facts, but did an official point directly to go somewhere, right? And so I'm agreeing with you, Mark, that it's the athlete's onus to count the laps. But if I'm in a race and an official points me to do something, I'm listening to that official, right?
I agree. I agree. And if that's the case, it's almost race null and void.
And
because what they then did, I think I'm on a tiny lag to you, so I'm sorry for talking over you, Pat. I think what they then did is, I think, weak. I admire the athletes and the decision they made, but I think weak. They basically got the athletes in a room, and there were two courses of action. One of them was everyone that ran 7 laps only is disqualified, and the remaining 4 get points, and they come first, second, third, fourth. But they put that decision to the people that ran 8 laps: Morgan Pearson, Jake Birtwistle, Gregory Barnaby, Jason West. And those 4 athletes, commendably, sportsmanly, said, "We'll just take it at the last timing check at the end of the 7 laps." And the results are as stood. Now, one of those you can take out, but I'm sure he would have done the sportsmanly thing anyway. Morgan Pearson, he won either way. So Morgan Pearson absolutely deserves to win this race. Huge congratulations. The others basically all voted to lose places and money. But why is it their decision? And I'm not saying that they made the wrong decision, that it was up to them, but I just think it's kind of like, it shows, you don't really know what the rules are yourself. You haven't got a good solution to this yourself. And you're laying the responsibility on an athlete's feet, who is then feeling a lot of peer pressure to do quite a noble thing. And I can hand on heart say, if I was Jake Birtwistle and I'm essentially getting the choice between 4th and all that cash or last, I am not as good a sportsman as Jake Birtwistle. And I'm saying, screw that, we're taking 8 laps.
I'm 100% with you. If I'm Jake, I'm like, wait, I'm going to get 4th place and $15,000 or last place and $1,000? Nah, I think I'm good on that.
Well, we're not the sports people, Jason Birtwistle, so Jake Birtwistle is. So congrats to you, mate. You're a bigger man than me and Kyle are. But also, like, how can he make the other decision with all his peers knowing he's done that? And then he has to turn up to race after race with them when they're feeling all scorned because an organization didn't have the balls to make the decision themselves.
So where do we go from here?
20 laps.
And I guess what I would like to do is I'd like to read Martin Van Riel's post that he obviously put out hot right after the race. Because for me, this was short, direct, and hit the nail on the head. To quote Martin Van Riel, shout out to the real winner today, Ironman Try. Parentheses, sorry, Morgan Pearson. I will give a bigger update on the whole situation later, but I'm honestly quite devastated right now. I not only lost tens of thousands of dollars, but I mostly feel let down by an organization I tried supporting and sacrificed a big part of my season for. I think the professional can go and we can just call it the Triathlon organization from today onwards.
Man, he ain't racing T100 next year, is he?
That's from last year's world champion.
Yeah. That to me says also it gives credence to Hayden's grievance about the bike a bit, because he was most affected by the extra lap on the bike. And you would have to think that he was in a position where he saw an exchange of things going on and decided he had one more to go as well, because he was third wheel at the time.
So here's where I go with it, right? I leave the weekend and here's what I think. The social media team completely screwed up. You never, in my opinion, you never shine a light on failure like this within your organization. And this was a top-down failure, period. You never put the athletes in a situation where they have to ultimately do the jobs of the officials. That happened. And now you've done nothing to try and retroactively fix your image moving forward, right? You know, Sam came on and made a statement that said, our timing boards failed. We had a technological error. This is beyond a technological error, right? And, you know, it's our understanding that they had investors there from other regions. This will have a much greater impact, and I'm really sorry for that, because I do want the T100 to succeed, but my God, are they making it hard for us to root for them?
Hey, Talbot.
Sorry, guys, had some overlap of scheduling this morning. I agree 100% with Pat on that. I think that another thing that, of course, we don't know the ins and the outs of the T100, and a lot of people say we're always critical of them. And I could be wrong on this factually. I look at it from like a top-down leadership role as well. When mistakes are made, I'm sorry, someone needs to get fired. We've seen time and time again mistakes made. Nothing's happened. Like Hayden had to self-disqualify himself from wearing shoes. They still haven't even made a ruling on that. Like, where is the accountability from the leadership?
And this is coming from an organization that intends and wants to bring on more races into their portfolio.
And so sometimes someone has to get fired because it holds the rest of the people accountable. And like I said, this is also too why it is important to be at these races. Unfortunately, we weren't at this event, but you can kind of understand a little bit more. And my only other rebuttal too is to also defend the T100 a little bit. It's a pretty small team. It's not as large as probably like an Ironman event. Let's say Hayden started that extra lap and said this, and then it starts a cluster of race comms people, the race organizers being like, what's going on? And everyone's turned in and all that. And it probably just turned into a snowball that could have potentially led into the run, where it just kind of messed up everything. So we don't know that, but I'm sorry, someone's head needs to be on the chopping block. So then a mistake is not made again, because we know if we make a mistake like this again, we're fired. Just my 2 cents. I could be wrong on that, but we make mistake after mistake after mistake. Nothing's ever done.
Yeah, I'm inclined to agree. Like, I think you also have to have someone who is directly responsible for it to be a fireable offence, but there needs to be repercussions, right? And they'll know where it went wrong, but it went wrong multiple times at multiple points. And what I do see as a bit is, and sort of actually to lay more blame on the T100, people are often like, oh, well, the women managed. And you're like, yeah, but they're an hour later. So the guy that's at the entrance to T2 that maybe just was stood, all it takes for Hayden to run an extra lap is there's a guy that happens to be stood on the entrance to transition walking across. Hayden sees that he's got one more. All it takes is, whatever. And they might have noticed that the course was then way off, and they put someone out on a bridge to shout at Jess Learmonth at that, you're going in now, because they've recognized the distance is wrong and it's throwing athletes out. By the time the women come round, the finish line to the gateway to the finish line is all sorted because they've had an hour. So it's not a men's problem. I think Talbot's right. I just thought it was a shambles. And Martin Van Riel's a pretty damn chill bloke. Like, he's a chill guy, and he's a professional as well. Like, he doesn't pop off at sponsors. He doesn't pop off in hot mics. He doesn't do anything like that. For him to take an hour, sit down and write that says an awful lot to me.
So where do we go from here?
Ironman.
No. But like, look, like this to me is like, okay, so they did do some things right, in my opinion, for next year, right? Like, they have a lot of money on for some races. This has
They re-signed Dubai. I woke up this morning, they re-signed Dubai for next year.
Yeah, I mean, this is the kind of thing that I would expect. Like, when you go to a world triathlon race in the depths of South America, that you're signing up for some dogs on the course, somebody to run in the wrong way through T2. Like, you're signing up for this. These races are much higher stakes because there's far more money at them, right? And so what you'd hate to be is, if you are Jake Birtwistle and you did the right amount of laps and you did get 4th place and now you got dead last, if you're going to invest this time and energy into one of these events, you want to know that it's going to be done in a professional way. And I go back to this whole, World Triathlon never admits when they've done anything wrong. And I'm afraid that the T100 is starting to take that position, and they're just going to simply ignore their failures. And then I think it's going to be one of these things where it is just going to be clear on what athletes decide to go to them, right? But you're not going to see any tier 1 athletes here.
I think it all begins with listen to the athletes. And one thing that we always try to do is represent the athletes at Pro Tri News. We intermingle, we try to chat with them a lot. You had all the long course guys, the Ironman guys, they've all left. So they got their new crop, which was all, they're like, you know what? We don't need the long course guys. We don't need Magnus. We don't need Sam Laidlow. We don't need the Lionel Sanders. We're going to create our own. We're going to create our own people. Now they've lost all the short course guys. So what are they going to do next year? It's just going to be a bunch of different wild cards. And its problem is that they've lost the trust of the athletes. And that's what's unfortunate, because we can all say right here, we want T100 to be successful. Like, we all want it to be successful. I just think it's a leadership thing.
Yep. Talbot. They've lost the trust. And that's a real pain in the butt to get back. And I think it's, at the end of the day, it's that simple. And they can sit here and say, hey, it was a timing board's problem. Hey, we shouldn't have done that on social media. It's time for them to start demonstrating that they care about these athletes, right? And the genesis,
Sorry,
let me finish. The genesis of this project was athlete focused and athlete centered and athlete led. We know that the athlete board has been toothless. They've made decisions, they've made recommendations to leadership from day one that have simply gone ignored. And for me, this sport is going the way, T100 is going the way of what's happened to NASCAR here in the US, where NASCAR in the US, they finish on more yellow flags than they start. I mean, then they finish on checkered flags. I mean, NASCAR is a joke. Their championship was decided on a yellow flag a couple weeks ago. T100 has become a joke. And they need to actually do something about it. But they've partnered with an organization that has had filings where CAS has said that they were engaged in illegal activity that they can't do anything about, corruption.
Yeah, corruption.
And they're choosing to do nothing. And that's the problem. But here's who's not doing nothing. The athletes. The athletes are going to start voting, and it's going to be really, really clear.
Yeah, I mean, I agree.
You guys want to talk about the women's race, Dubai?
Yeah.
No, of course we need to talk about it. Yeah, of course we need.
No. There was no point. I was just wondering if someone else was going to pick the women's race up. I would say it was like kind of par for the course women's race, except we saw Kate Waugh have to run against a really good runner in Julie Deron. Yeah. And I've said this about Lucy and Kate Waugh winning these races before. Lucy's one of the most perfect all-round triathletes we've ever seen, but she's not an uber runner. And people have been talking about like they're just battling off the front. They've actually not really had to run against a Kate Waugh or a really good Ashley Gentle because they're just gapping all the other girls by a long way. Julie Deron for me was like the scary one for Kona, and she didn't make it. When she comes back and she gets these right, she's just too good for the lady, like the other ladies running at the front of the race. There's a couple of people that can sort of run around her, but they're back in the field. Julie Deron's an absolute weapon, and she showed it today. She hung tough right at the front of the bike race. She couldn't get dropped by Kate, Jess Learmoth, etc., and she just destroyed them on the run. She won by 3 minutes and 12 seconds. Kate Waugh, though, is an unbelievably good all-round athlete, and if Lucy is in that race, Jess Learmoth hasn't just done a 70.3. Do they gap Julie out the swim, and do they then Julie never comes back into the race? So maybe Kate depends on Lucy a little bit to race, but then she gets beat by her in the run. It's difficult. All she needs a fresh Jess Learmoth to really make that swim hard enough to get rid of Julie Deron. And then go on.
Yeah, no, and you just always forget, like sometimes these mid-season, like she had an injury, right?
Yeah.
It's a chance to freshen up both mentally and physically, right? And so it's hard to also weigh that. Like Kate has done a full season, massive travel, massive year. Julie had that pause, right? So she's going to mentally be a little bit more eager, mentally and physically be a little bit more sharp, right? And I think that's what we saw this weekend.
Yeah, I think that's really fair. And I think Kate will be excited for revenge in Qatar because I think she'll hope to go with Lucy, get that gap on Julie, have enough of a gap to run, have another head-to-head for the win, whatever. At the end of the day, though, Julie did the job. Kate Waugh in second. Jess Learmoth third. Though she really cracked for a while and looked like she was going to go, she actually got it done really well after a hard 70.3 worlds as well. George Taylor-Brown took fourth again off 70.3 worlds. And then Holly Lawrence was fifth. And I'm actually just enjoying watching Holly do really well at this series and this year. Really good Kona for her, especially, obviously off the back of having just had a baby. Hannah DeVette was much better here than she was in. I just thought they've had pretty phenomenal races. I was suddenly concerned that I was looking at the wrong tracker because the results aren't right currently on the T100 tracker.
It's on I linked it in the show notes.
I know you've got it in the race, but I'm wondering why the tracker's changed. But anyway, go on, Carl. Finish out the top 10 for me, would you? Because I'm on the app, and the app is totally...
Taylor Spivey 6th, Lisa Perder 7th, Lizzie Rayner 8th, Hannah DeVette 9th, and Meg McDonald in 10th. So
thank you very much. Sorry, the actual online tracker at the moment has dropped loads of people out of it, which is annoying.
All good. It's going to be all to play for here for the race to Qatar. The championship is going to be here in a few weeks. The championship race has significantly more points, elevated points than the other races. I believe it's 55 points for the win, so 20 points more than just a standard T100 race. As of right now, the standings are Hayden Wild in first at 140 points, perfect score. Yella Geens in second, 122 points. Mika Newt third, 113 points. If you go further down the list, something that's going to be significant for next year is if you're in the top 10, you automatically get a slot for the first race of the T100 with them changing to new criteria. And the race for 10th place is kind of on with Greg Barnaby, Menno Koolhaas, Yuri Kulin, and Jason West. So we'll see who ends up making it a race there. On the women's side, though, it's pretty much a 3-horse race between Lucy Charles, Barclay, Julie Duran, and Kate Woff. Essentially, whoever finishes ahead of the other two at the grand final in Qatar will win the series, which is really exciting, really cool. Kind of the narrative of the whole season was women's racing is more exciting than men, and that's going to be on full display here. Same situation, 9th, 10th, 11th, all separated by about 9th, 10th, 11th, 12th, all separated by about 7-8 points. So it'll be interesting to see who ends up in the top 10 of the standings at the end of the day.
Do we care?
I think I care.
I don't care who's in the top 10 because I think they'll have so many people jump ship that I don't think the top 10 will have the first race.
I will say,
winning it, I care.
Yeah. Just to kind of wrap that up and move into our next topic. Are you guys cool with that?
Yeah.
No, I want to.
We got to talk about the viewership. I mean, the spectators there. I think that's a big topic. A lot of people brought up and talked about on the amount of people at the event. And I had wrote a comment in defense of T100 and said, you have to have these races in the Middle East because they help pay for the series. Like this is a lot of events that and then someone replied back and was like, then they need to relook at their business plan. And I'm kind of like, hold on, man. Like this is very common in sport. Yeah. I mean, like Formula One, they generate almost like $80 million revenue at each one of their Middle East events. Live Golf, I like UAE owns the Manchester City Football Club. I mean, that's like this is very, very common to have ties with the Middle East for the money to fund sports, from boxing, MMA, cycling. I mean, you name it. This is very, very common, and so it's like you'll lose money at an event like a Vegas, which I guess didn't even happen because we're just going to completely lose money. But you gain that money back at having events in the Middle East. So it is good negotiation on the T100's end.
Here's what I would.
3 of them. So we got 3 events next year, which will all just be ghost towns.
4.
Where am I missing?
Yeah, Bahrain, Saudi Arabia
as well. Yeah.
Bahrain, Saudi Arabia.
I missed Bahrain, yeah.
Qatar and Dubai.
Almost half your series will have 0 spectators.
Here's where my head goes. I think Sam needs to do almost an Oprah-style interview because they need to recover the trust of the athletes. The top athletes are not doing this series next year.
Like, is it not long course or short course?
They don't trust, they don't have any faith that they're going to get paid. They don't have any faith that the races are going to be done in a fair manner. This needs to be...
No trust that the dates or schedule is going to change?
This needs to be reconciled. And I think until that happens, there's just going to be an exodus of athletes doing this. And yes, they're going to fill fields. They're going to fill 20 wild cards every time they do a race.
Well, they didn't here. They couldn't.
They didn't. Yeah, they couldn't. So they're going to put together races. But they are so far from what they said they were going to do. And until they take some extreme ownership of this, it's over.
How do you do that? What is your solution? Like, what do you recommend? If you're Sam Renouf and this just happened this weekend, what do you do? You get on, and first you apologize to the fans and the athletes. And you don't say it's a timing board mistake. You say it's my mistake. I didn't empower the right decisions and the right actions here. And I'm sorry. Moving forward, this is what I'm going to do. But the problem is
This organization has a history of ducking, diving, and dodging better than anybody else. We've had other people from their larger group on. They don't answer any questions. And the reality is that the fans and the athletes just see through it.
We get a lot of feedback on here. You guys, all you do is just hate on T100. Give them a chance. Give them a chance. It's y'all's job to promote their races and hype them up. Like, what do you have to say to that, Mark? Do you think we've given them a chance?
I mean, they are right in one respect, and I'm very honest about my biases and stuff. But then I see stuff like this, and I'm like, well, there's a reason we don't race T100 races. And I think we saw this quite early on. I haven't had faith in the business model. I do think they got bailed out this year by 20 million of Saudi money that they're now burning through, and they need the next investor. They need this to work. And I do think we'll see a massive exodus of athletes. I mean, Hayden Wild should just race the T100 next year because, let's be honest, he can win them in zone 2 and it's good payment. But like, there will be a lot of people leaving. And I don't know what level the change needs to come. I think it needs to come really high up.
To answer your question, Kyle, I just think that I don't think reinventing the triathlon wheel works. I don't think creating new distances, I don't think trying to reinvent the wheel works. If it was me, I would be going to the 70.3 distance and the Ironman distance, and I'd be putting on a competitive series, or I would be going to Ironman and working in conjunction with Ironman. But neither of those will happen, so it doesn't matter. But that's what I would do to save it, because in my opinion, I feel like this is a ticking clock that is it's not even a stopwatch, it's a timer going down. So yeah.
I don't want to sit here and be negative about the T100.
I want it to be successful. I was the biggest dude. I gave them so much content. I worked with them and all that. I mean, of course, I was a little bitter when they canned me for the whole me calling them out on testing their athletes to make sure they weren't doping. But I still want T100 to be successful. It's an incredible organization. I just feel like we just need some actual listening to the athletes, not having a athlete board that has zero interest.
I think
that would be my solution, is get the athlete board and get them actually involved, rather than just saying, well, we have an athlete board, we talk to them and have a call, and our CEO may or may not be on the call this week, or our COO may or may not be on the call this week. Actually have a NFL Players Association type of board that then is helping and encouraging the growth of the sport. The deck is stacked against them for next year, because next year the Olympic qualifying criteria starts for 2028 Olympics. You got the Pro Series that's heating up. You got both athletes going back to Kona, men and women. T100 has if they can come out of this, they've got some serious smarts on their team if they can come out from this.
Lastly, before we move on away from this, I believe that the T100 can pull it off. They have the money, they have the resources. It's just a few decisions. If they changed, we all want them to be successful. I want them to be successful, and I hope that they can.
One of the issues they face here again, though, is that partnership with World Triathlon letting them down. Like, when you give the decision back to the athletes because you're not sure where the end of the race is, who won, that's a technical official decision. Who does the technical official? Who does that? It's World Triathlon.
World Triathlon.
They contract with them. They work with them on it. The event organizers weren't good enough because it wasn't obvious to the athletes when they bloody finished a race. I mean, that's pretty basic. The course was boring, like lappy crap. And then the technical officials couldn't decide who won the race, and they asked the athletes to decide for them. That's like now two massive decisions the technical officials have just done nothing on. Like, nothing.
I mean, does Hayden still have his points from France right now when he just self-disqualified himself? Okay. So zero action. They were like, well, guys, I think we're in the clear. This is just blown over. And it's like Hayden's even raising his hands being like, guys, I forfeit. But they won't even do anything about it.
Yeah,
And
true.
it's like
Yeah.
the athletes are trying to help them. Yeah, it's just unfortunate.
I will say, before we move on to the topic of the week, the best thing that the T100 has done is put their races on YouTube, because I was able to download the race beforehand and watch the race on my flight to Ironman Arizona.
Thank God they're doing that, at least. My
Yeah,
God.
true.
That's Iron Man, can you take one note from the T100 here? Put your races on YouTube.
Literally, I'm sitting at the airport and I
for
hit
goodness sake.
download on YouTube, download, and then I'm watching it on the flight. And the person next to me is like, "What the hell is this weirdo doing?"
For goodness sakes, can you just Iron Man? Can you just put your races on YouTube? So many people would watch them on the trainer and treadmill over the winter. You'd blow your mind.
Yeah.
So,
Yeah, Ferdinand's bang on the commentary as well. I did enjoy watching him try and navigate the absolute fiasco. That was fun. Commentary team, they still win the commentary team award every week.
Yep.
Well, we'll have a vote on that here later on for the 2025 Pro Tri News Awards. So there's a lot of people nominated for Commentary Team of the Year. So get ready. Originally, we had planned to talk topic of the week Ironman Pro Series. Y'all cool with that? Or you want to move that to another week?
I think we got to kick that to another week. This was too much in this to focus on. My hope is that even we have a little bit more insight as every week goes by of who might be doing the Pro Series, right? And we're going to hear some whispers of who's thinking about their schedules, where and when.
Yeah.
I vote that we kick that one more week at least. Mark?
Okay.
I'm happy with that. There is a hot take on there about one person, which we should crack before it becomes public, because we can drop that bomb.
Okay.
Oh.
Spicy. The race is coming up this weekend. The ever iconic Ironman Cozumel. It's Latin American Championship. Out of the race is Patrick Lang and more than likely Sam Long, who is on the start list. In for the race, I know that they sent emails to Ironman. We'll see if they let him on the start list. Two people that had rough races at Ironman Arizona: Trevor Foley, who double flatted, and Steph Clutterbuck, who had a bit of a panic attack in the swim. So we'll see if they get on. There's 4 slots for both the men and the women's race. There's 1 female already qualified, no men. Another race coming up this weekend is Laguna Paquette, which is also a very iconic race, been going on for about 40 years. We have the return of Imogen Simmons in that race, Dominika Jamecki, Georgia Taylor Brown, who's raced her 67th race in 67 weeks, Nicole Vanderkay, and then on the men's side, you basically have Taylor Reed versus Josh Ferris.
I'll tell you what, for Emo's sake, I do hope she doesn't win by 12 minutes, because that would send the internet alive.
So good. Let's get into some hot takes. Hot take number 1, the new Kona qualifications for age groupers. What were you guys' thoughts this week when that announcement came out?
Mark, can you unpack that a little bit? Just maybe how we got to this point and the retroactive decision around it?
So their new system, I'm going to call like the one that we just sort of got rid of, but we're adapting. The new system essentially had automatic qualification slots for first in each age group, and then it rolled down to third in that age group. And if the third didn't take it, it went back into the performance pool. All the rest of the slots were made up of the performance pool. The performance pool is given out based on essentially how well you did relative to your age category in the previous 3 iterations of Ironman World Championships. The problem they had was twofold. The main problem was the performance pool was 95% of the slots were being taken by men, not women. And of those, they were quite compact into the 50 or even like the 45 to 60 age categories. So they were seeing like a massive amount of age group slots go to those particular male categories and men across the board. The other interesting fact was that women were turning down the automatic qualification slots based on first, second, or third at like 5 times higher rate than men. So the women's slots were being turned down on first, second, and third, and they were then rolling into the performance pool where they are opened up to both genders, because it's just the performance pool and you are compared to your age category being M 40 to 45 or whatever, or F 40, like exactly. So there's those individual categories. What they've now adjusted to is the performance pool slots are split between men and women, and they are representative of the percentage of men and women in that race, as in they're proportional, not overall. And if your slots roll out of, say, women's 25-29, the first, second, third don't take it, that slot drops into the respective gender pool, i.e. it goes into the women's pool. So what it means is the roll-off slots from first, second, third can't be taken by a man in the performance pool. They stay within the women's pool. What it means is you will get more women qualifying. It will be statistically easier for women to qualify. But you're actually kind of taking a step backwards, because you're getting first place slots in male and female, every age category. And then you're getting a pool size that it represents the number of males and females racing. So you're kind of just going to end up with a similar amount of men and women getting slots for Kona if we're just stuck with the proportional representation. But what you won't get is a glut of 50-year-old men qualifying and no women qualifying out of the performance pool. Does that make sense? It's quite hard to articulate without a script in front of me. I should have done.
Julian did a great job making graphics both for the T100 Dubai race and this new qualification criteria. So if what Mark's saying just kind of goes over your head and you're a visual learner like myself, go to our Instagram, ProTri News, and click on those. And
yeah, so basically every first place age category, male or female, gets a slot. And then there are performance pool slots to make up all the rest of the slots that are available. They are divided between men and women based on how many men raced and how many women raced. And then you get those slots based on how well you did against your category in Kona over the last 3 years. But for me, it's a bit of a step backwards, because it's now just proportional, as in if 10% of women race, they'll only get 10%
the old
slots.
way. Not even the old way that was announced this year. The old way.
No, I prefer it to the old way, which was just proportional slots, because you're guaranteeing first in every age group. So you should then have some more. And if an age group
I do like that.
Yeah, and let's say 30 to 34 women are really good in one race, but they only make up X percentage. Well, they will still get more slots, but they will come out of other women's slots across the category, if that makes sense. I don't know. I found it like a knee-jerk reaction from the community. I think it happened because the maths was bad in the first place, and a lot of that was championed by independent organizations. I don't know what to make of it.
One of the hot takes is we now have DEI World Championship back, which I don't necessarily agree to that extent.
No,
but
it's not true.
I think that I think Ironman may have made the decision a little too early. I think they could have waited till the spring to see like how the rest of the races for the year kind of pan out, and maybe use like Ironman Texas after we get out of championship season and once those races get more competitive.
I'm still confused why Ironman didn't just make the statement that seemed really obvious to me, like with the California incident. Hey guys, this was 1 week after our women's specific world championship. So we had an overwhelming amount of athletes do that race, and we just need to have a little bit more churn from our season before we make, if like, we're just going to keep observing this.
Yeah, that's what I would have done, but I think that Ironman's making the decision to like kind of keep the positive publicity and keep.
Well, I think they reflected like there was a lot of flack. They were catching a lot of grief online, and it wasn't, to be fair, it wasn't panning out as they expected either.
Right.
They weren't expecting. But I think there was a lot of bad faith arguments. I think there was a lot of people like, oh my God, only 5% of slots are going to women, 95 are going to men, from the performance pool.
Right.
You're neglecting all the others. And then the question has to be asked, why are women turning down first place slots?
Why are women only competing at 20% of women are competing in Ironman racing? Why is that the case?
Yeah, and the argument would be that you need to like show that you can get to the world champs to push that number up. But it's not just competing; it's also turning down world champ slots 5 times more than men do in the first place slots. Like that's not even DNI in a way. Like I don't think that you can call them DNI racing, but that's not DNI. That's like you had equal opportunity, huge equal opportunity, and they're turning them down on a mass percentage.
They do it in 70.3 World Championship. 1,000 women turned down their slots and didn't show up to Marbella. 1,000 women. 1/3 of the qualifying women.
And there's so many gender examples of why. Like, it depends where it falls in the year. Is it in the school season? Is it available money? Is it like the want to compete at a high level? Are you doing it for different reasons? All that stuff's valid and fine. And I'm not against the changes they've made. I think it makes actually quite a lot of sense. I do think going back to a proportional representative, as in the number of people in your performance pool is based on the number of people in your gender at the race. I do think that's a step back, because that kind of holds you to women will basically make up 25 to 30% of slots in Kona, which is pretty much what they were giving out anyway when they did Women for Sport, etc. Women for Try.
Cool. Land the plane on that one. 70.3 World Championship. Rumored to have cities that submitted applications or rumored locations for 70.3 Worlds in 2027. There's a understanding that we don't have any inside information. We don't have any confirmation of this, but the rumor is that it's going to be back in the United States or North America for 70.3 World Championship in 2027. 2026 it's in Nice, 2028 it's in Nice, 29 is in Oman. So 2027 Ironman World Championship for 70.3. Rumored locations: Boise, which was dormant for 10 years, came back last year as a pro race. This upcoming year, 2026, it will be a pro series race. Maybe Boise. Oceanside, they're going to maybe do like what Nice does with having a 70.3 in the summertime, and then they have 70.3 World Championship. Maybe. Jones Beach, which is in New York. Happy Valley, which is 70.3 Regional North American Championship this year. Madison, Wisconsin, which Ironman Wisconsin has been a huge race in the U.S. for a long time. 70.3 Chattanooga, which hosted 70.3 Worlds about 10 years ago. Mont Tremblant, and then someone else threw out Lake Placid.
So we've got absolutely no idea it's just going to be in America.
No.
That was about 12 races.
I mean, that's the rumor.
Yeah. No,
I mean, the one for me
there's
there is
like
Oceanside.
7 hotels in Lake Placid. I really hope, for the sake of everyone, they don't do it there.
Oh yeah, and imagine doing 2 days, 6,000 out there. They reckon they did 250,000 hotel rooms in Marbella.
There's no way they can do Placid. No way.
Yeah, I mean, they'll get 20,000 plus people. No, Oceanside, that's iconic enough. Like that,
dude.
that
Oceanside, yeah. Beach Start. Oh, the venue. Oceanside would be incredible.
Plenty of places to stay. Plenty of airports. We'll see. Staying on 70.3 World Championship. If a pro qualifies for 70.3 Worlds and does not race, they should be penalized. That's the hot take that was submitted.
Why? Like,
what would the penalty? Yeah.
Monetary penalty?
No, I mean, that's not. No, the penalty is they're not racing. I mean, most athletes, if they qualify for 70.3 Worlds, they want to do it.
Yeah.
Lionel wanted to do it. He just wasn't ready. You know what I mean? Like, that's the penalty.
He's penalized. He's not allowed to put out a YouTube video for a week.
Yeah, totally agree. I know what they mean. Like, are you deliberately taking up slots? But it's not like you're penalizing someone else by taking their slot. Not like deliberately. You are in effect, but no.
Ironman Arizona, hot takes. There's quite a few of them. Ben Canute wins the race if he doesn't race 70.3 World Championship.
No.
Milo Kunas was amazing.
No.
Ben Canute is not. You can't just give him a 2:35. Like, he's never come close to that.
Yeah.
Joe Skipper needs a new coach and a new bike mechanic. Yes and yes.
Joe Skipper's Joe Skipper. He's just a madman out doing sport, basically. Just let the guy cook, and let's just see what fun he comes up with along the way.
Yep.
The USA needs a new late season Ironman, with Ironman Arizona now being gone.
Yeah, where they could do Florida.
I mean, Florida's already in November. I mean, how much? Like, are you wanting to race on Christmas Day or?
Yeah. I mean, that's what I'm saying. Like, just go do Florida.
Or go do Cozumel if you want a late season race.
The problem Ironman have is with their business model, the only race is not filling up in North America. Europe fills up instantly. They can't fill their races in America.
I'm pretty sure they've sold out every Ironman in Europe for next year already.
And 70.3. Yeah.
Is there any more Ironmans this year in Europe?
No,
No.
but my point is that if they put more races on in America, they just risk not filling them, and it becomes a cost. It costs them more than they make in profit. It's a sunk cost.
The other one, pro field should be limited to 50 pro athletes, given the amount of age group athletes that beat pro men at Ironman Arizona.
I think that comes down to the pro license rather than the field size, and then that would take care of itself.
Yeah.
I would like to see improvements to the licensing, and then the field size naturally takes care of itself because you don't have as many pointless pros.
I believe the age groupers would have been about 18th in the pro field this week.
I mean, also let's not like underestimate how damn good some age groupers are now.
Yeah.
But I think that's my answer, and I stick to it.
Yep.
So we look at the pro licensing.
Yes.
All pro fields should have race ranger. You can't let officials go on power trips when you can see how far you are.
I know this goes back to what I said about, going and doing a world triathlon race in a, a country that's maybe not the most organized. You choose to go to a race with Race Ranger, an Ironman Pro Series, because there's going to be a caliber that they maintain at these events. If you choose to go do Ironman, the Ironman Arizona, you're going to do a 3-lap course. So there's going to be sections where you're going to have to go 18 miles an hour because you're passing Betty Sue and Joey Rogers at, when there's just like the road is way too tight to accommodate everybody. And we saw that yesterday on social. That 3-lap bike course just isn't safe. So that's when you go to a race like that, you have to expect those services. As an athlete, you would rather pay more to go do a race that's more professional.
Fair. Next one, is the pro briefing and Kona slot allocation mandatory? Should it be added to the official rule book, or is this just spirit of the rules? There was some pro athletes that didn't go to the pro briefing for Ironman Arizona, and I believe they're not going to the slot allocation for accepting their slot to Kona.
Oh, if you want a slot to Kona, you should have to go. Because isn't that also the awards? So,
Yeah.
like, if you're not turning up for your award, because that's good for the sport, like, don't make the age groupers sit through a pro podium, who then all bugger off straight away anyway because they get them first. Like, don't make them sit through it and have one rule for one rule for the other. We book our flights and we always have to check what time the awards are.
And how did you feel about having to book your flights in Marbella, racing on Saturday, knowing that awards were Monday morning?
It gets worse than that, Pat, because they still wanted Kat to go to the awards because she won the Ironman series, but she didn't have to go on stage. All they wanted her to do is put her hand in the air, wave at the crowd, and then sit there and watch everyone having just DNF'd and limp across the car park. Did we go though, Pat? Of course we went.
Yes.
Of course we went, because Kat is a professional. So yes, I agree with the first part. And I agree with if you don't go to the briefing, you don't race. Shit. I mean, I don't care.
Yep.
I'm not
No
interested.
question about it. No flights. Flight was canceled. I had a family emergency.
I think if there was like a legitimate, provable reason that you planned to be there for it, something completely out of your control went wrong, they could make exceptions. But that's it. Like if you were planning to land your plane an hour before and that's delayed, tough.
Yep.
It needs to be a discretionary rule that's enforced harshly, in my opinion.
Because
they have
a lot of pros
points.
that were upset about both these things this weekend. So that's what's
good for them. What, they're upset because other people didn't bother?
Correct.
They're upset because Sam Long didn't come to the pro race briefing and he's not going to get his Ironman slot that he got for Kona. So someone's upset and filled out a hot take. That's what they're upset about.
But I do think that rules are rules.
I know he's due to give a baby this week, but if you can't fulfill the commitments of a race, don't do the race. Sorry. And I understand that there will be people that listen to this, I'll give him a break. But just, it's a professional sport, and there are safety elements of that briefing. This is a no overtake stretch because cars are coming fast the other direction. This. Like, otherwise, don't do a brief. If you don't need to sit through a brief, don't waste everyone's time.
All professional athletes have 900 other things they'd rather be doing 2 days before 100%. An Ironman than going to a pro briefing for an hour plus.
Exactly. Either don't have a brief or make it mandatory. I don't see another solution.
Rest of the hot takes are regarding the T100 and the Dubai race. Number one, T100 needs a new CEO.
I think it's going to be discussed.
Yeah. We're also going to do some CEO grades for topic of the week one of these days, so maybe we'll talk about it. Hey, don't look at me like that, Mark. It didn't come from me. The next one, who do you think actually won the Dubai race? This could be a good little debate.
I don't know exactly why Hayden missed the laps. I'm assuming it's because of the distance, and also he was just at the front. Like, it's way more likely to happen to the front athlete.
Yep.
So for me, Morgan Pearson won. But if it came out that there was a board wrong or there was someone stood in the entrance to transition that made Hayden go past, Hayden would have won that race. So I'm going Morgan Pearson. But
I do think it should be noted in here that this is not the first time that Hayden has miscounted laps. Also, to defend Hayden, there's a lot that goes on in these races that, like, I think Hayden's wrong for miscounting laps, but also too, you shouldn't have to be counting laps. Like, it's just like that.
Yeah.
That should be, the athlete should just be racing. But also too, it's kind of like in football, you got to understand where the line's at. You got to understand all the rules, of clock management and everything else. So it's like, it's give or take.
It just, the whole thing, for me, this
Hey,
all
Pat, say it's gross.
no, this whole thing for me began in Milwaukee when Jan Frodeno handed an official a suit and nothing happened from it. And then he crossed the line in T2 and nothing happened from it. This doing nothing has been going on for far too long. And now they are paying the highest penalty for it.
so who won the race, Pat?
Morgan Pearson.
Yeah, I agree.
I think if they have 8 laps on the run, I think Hayden could end up on the podium. But I think Morgan still won the race.
Agree. Yeah.
The lack of crowds are tough for TV viewers.
Fact.
Yep.
How do you fix it?
It's really hard to do because you have to go to just triathlon hotspot locations, but they don't draw money. So
they
what
can't.
do you do?
Yeah. I mean, it was the same. They did the same. They had cycling world championships in Oman. I think this was 6, 7, 8 years ago when Mark Cavendish won. There was nobody at the races. And I mean, nobody, right? And so this is not triathlon specific. I was watching a different car race yesterday. There was nobody in the stands, nobody. And so I just think this is a problem. This is a macro problem across many sports.
Yeah.
It's easy to watch at home.
Another one. You're the technical official. You just witnessed what all happened, and you have a decision to make. Make the race a no contest, 4 finishers, and the rest of them are disqualified, or the decision they made, which was retroactively saying 7th lap of the run.
The problem is you don't have if I was the technical official, you don't have with 100% certainty who did how many laps.
I think you do. No, they do have that. I believe they do. Before they pissed around with the results, you could see it quite clearly on the tracker. I think they knew that. I think they cocked up with the entrance to the finish chute. And it's whether the finish chute was closed when Morgan ran past, but then open and others were pointed in.
See, see, this is then where I think, but then it goes to a fact situation. Was the person that came into T2 first, I believe that person was directed against their own decision making, right? And so I just don't think that we would have ever, I personally would have called it a disqualify everybody except for the 4 people, but I actually don't think they had the facts to have that conviction to make that call, because there's nuance of, hey, this official pointed me here, this official had the lap card wrong. It's a nasty situation, and I think everybody had a different story of what happened. Talbot?
If you're the technical official, you don't let a situation like this happen with being proactive. So something like this shouldn't happen in the first place.
Okay, but it happened. Make a decision. Which of the three decisions are y'all going with?
Technical official get fired from his job. That's what should happen.
I would go with Pat. I would go with everyone else but the 4 that did 8 laps disqualified. Because you can accept one horrible mistake. Potentially, let's just hypothetically say the entrance to T2 was closed off and they went past. You're like, well, I wasn't sure, but you can't just run both and just let it all like slide away.
Yep, agreed.
But it wasn't closed off in this race.
No, but we don't. More like it's not just Hayden saying they were directed away from T2. It's also one of the other athletes in that group, and given the absolute cluster for the rest of it, I could well believe that something else stopped them coming into transition.
I'm cool with 4 finishers and everyone else is disqualified, and you got pure chaos going into the race to Qatar.
Yeah, that would be fun.
Drama
if I was them, I would give it to those 4 finishers, and I would divide up all the money and give it to everyone disqualified, the rest of the prize pool.
Bingo.
I would do that behind the scenes, but set the precedent. Don't F up again.
That's the right answer.
that was your answer from whenever I asked if you're a CEO, what do you do? How do you fix it? That's good, Talbot. Come on.
Now you're just blindly throwing darts on when the money arrives. But
yeah, you get paid in 2027, but it will get there.
The drama made Dubai better because it wasn't the same race for the 6th time. All publicity is good publicity.
It made it entertaining. It makes it better to talk about. But not all publicity is good publicity.
And not for the sake of Martin Van Riel.
Yeah.
I mean, not for the impact of Jake Birtwistle.
Yeah.
So
and we're pro Tri News, right? So for the athletes.
Yeah.
Yeah, all right. For the fans, sure. It's entertaining, but it's shit.
Yeah, you're right. And it was, you know what? And hats off, Hayden would have realistically won 6 in a row.
That would have been as well. He was flying.
That would have been great. He could have
won by 2 minutes. If you look at the tracker and the data, he would have won by 2 minutes.
Yeah, and you know what? It's shame on the T100 for this too, because Hayden would have had an undefeated season.
Yeah.
So.
How many laps is too many laps? Where do you limit it for a 3-4 hour race? 4 laps on the bike, 4 laps on the run?
For me, it depends on the lap. If it's like a legit lap, like it's an obvious circuit of a town that's a nice smooth circuit and you can have loads of fans, do as many as you want. If it's just random zigzags around a car park with out and back cones, well, you don't have a course. You can't have a race there. So I don't think I can set a number on it. I just think I know what a lap looks like, and it doesn't look like a Picasso painting. You know, I don't know what else to say.
No, it's like spaghetti on a plate. I mean, that's what it looked. That's what the lap looked like.
Yeah,
it's
brother.
What's that, brother?
Iron Memes posted some good stuff. We've been participating a little bit, sending them some ideas. So. No more memes coming from our account, though. So don't worry. 3-source. I won't say this one. Do you want me to say this one? I can say it. 3-source rumor that Lucy Charles Barclay is doing the Ironman Pro Series next year.
I would believe after the year she's had. Why wouldn't she?
She's raced so much this year, and she was so dominant in every race up until Kona, and then even after Kona with her 70.3 World Championship. Why not?
I hope she does.
Huge
up until Kona.
Even in Kona.
No, it's in just Kona, and then she won 70.3. Yeah, I mean, she got beat early season, and guess in Singapore, didn't she? But then otherwise, she's been excellent. Yeah, I've heard this from multiple people, so I think it's a worthwhile hot take and news source.
Think we'll see her in New Zealand? You think we'll see her in New Zealand?
Well, if you see her in New Zealand, I think you'll see Taylor Knibb Lucy Charles, Solveig Lofseth, Kat Matthews. And on the men's side, I think you'll get all the Norwegians, Jelle Geens. You're going to have it's going to be a ridiculous race.
We've been saying this. We've been saying this for weeks now. If you're not in Ironman New Zealand or the 70.3, you need to get registered now because it's going to be an absolute show. You just do what I do, do the 70.3 and watch the end of the pro race. It's a mass start. If you've always wanted to do a mass start in a triathlon.
I haven't told you, Tal, but I'm doing it as well.
Let's go!
It's going to be Kyle. It's going to be the first time in many, many years, I think, that I'll race on the same day as Kat. Because you're right, Pat. You need to come. By the way, someone needs to give us splits out the swim.
Oh,
so
man.
Good. Well, thank you everyone for listening to this week's edition of Pro Tri News. Hopefully, we kept it entertaining for you guys. We still have quite a bit of racing left through the end of the year. We will do our best to give you episodes each and every week. However, if we don't, be sure to follow us on our Instagram account, Pro Tri News, because we'll keep that updated because Jillian's working overtime. So thank you for listening. Share this with someone you know and love, and give us a 5-star rating. Peace.